Hey all, it's Denise here. I'm in my studio, kind of cleaning things up and taking care of some year-end things and getting ready for some things coming up in January. I have a mixed media class, What's Underneath, starting on January 4th, running for 4 weeks. It's a live online class. So what I'm going to do today is I'm getting some canvases ready, some surfaces ready for the class and just kind of warming up for it now and getting my mindset of where I want this class to go. So I'm going to do a couple videos on getting things ready, and today it's going to be getting my substrate ready. So won't take long, but keep dialed in and I'll show you what I do. Okay, so here I am. I've got a stack of papers that I've already selected. Some papers I just made on the jelly plate in one of my previous classes. And these are just made on computer paper, but they're great to lay down. And I am crazy about this color. This pink color is just so wonderful. I think that's all the pages I have of it. So I've picked my color palette. It's going to be pink and this turquoise, and I am just going to lay papers down and show you what I do to get started. Now, I am not using a new surface. This was some crazy manufacturer who actually printed the outline of a little design, and then you go in and it's kind of a, like a coloring book on canvas. So I did it just as a sample for the showroom I was working with at the time. And, but I saved the canvas because I thought, hey, I'll do something with this. So I don't let any of these colors distract from what I'm doing. I'm not sure which orientation I'm going to use for this guy either. But I'm just going to start laying papers down because it doesn't really matter. I'm just wanting to create a surface in the background for me to do a painting on. So what I'm going to be using, you could be using your fluid matte medium for this. And I also use a heavy gel medium when I have papers that are heavier to lay down. But you can use the matte medium, or what I love to use is I love using the varathane. And this is an outdoor varathane, and it's varathane that you get at Home Depot. It's water-based. It has, I'm dripping it right out of my can. It has because it's outdoor, it already has UV protection in it. So I'm going to use that. And I use my throwaway brushes for this. I never throw them away, but that's what I use to cover things with. So I'm just going to start laying papers out. Now, I'm not really sure I want to lose all of this color. Maybe, maybe not. I put a nice application of this on, and you can wrap it right around your edges as well, depending on what you want to do. I then go right back over it with my gel medium or my varathane. And some papers don't lay down so well. They're a little bit more stubborn. This is a thicker paper, but I always have my bowl scraper with me to get my papers to lay down. Now this, I gotta say, is a lot easier to do when you're working on a cradle board rather than on a canvas like I'm using here. I don't think I want more of that. Well, maybe there's one more piece of this that looks good because it has some text in it. And I think I will give myself a little crease there to make it a little easier. Make sure you get it laid down. And the faster you go, the more fun this is. This is so pretty. I love this paper. I kind of hate to tear it up and use it, but that's what it's there for. Get rid of that white edge. I don't really need that. So, and part of this, please pay attention, is that, you know, don't ever throw a canvas away. You can always use a canvas, an old canvas, and it just adds to the history of it. To have all these papers laid down over top of this, it's just part of it. It becomes part of the painting. And for me, I think the history is really important in a painting. And now I can come back and make sure I'm babysitting my papers and making sure that they're laid down as I go. And using a scraper is also pretty nice because it helps you conserve all that extra medium that you have to lay down. Let's see, I want a piece of this maybe up here in the corner. Just because I'm loving this paper. It's really, when I do jelly print papers, I very often go for papers that are just pretty color combinations rather than, and add some really interesting textures rather than trying to create a piece of art with them. I would prefer to use them in my art. And to be quite honest, I get really excited when something turns out as pretty as this paper is. Now I may end up covering most of this this little floral under here. Let me take a moment and see. This could be kind of fun to keep. And again, I'm just trying to get things, oh, that's kind of fun too. Just trying to get things added onto the canvas. Now, sometimes there's little buckles. If you smooth them out and you make sure that you get them to lay down, I don't mind the buckles. When it bubbles, that is when it's a problem, because when it's bubbling, that means it's not laying down on your substrate. And you want to make sure that your paper's laid down and attached to all the surfaces. To the surface of your substrate, because that is what is going to give strength to your painting. Now, so I can work out all these bubbles, but sometimes if I get a crease or one of these buckles that kind of lays down flat, I like those because they can add some interesting texture to this piece. Let's see what other things I have here. I do have this. This is part of a Free People shopping bag. And a friend of mine from Instagram sent this to me. Let me just cut a chunk of it off. And again, I don't really care too much exactly how it lays out, because I am going to be painting over this. And I love using fabrics. They lay down really nice. I'm not wild about the little flowers showing up, but I do like the texture of this. Coming back again, make sure my papers are laying down. Because with papers, once you get them wet, that's what makes them start to move around and buckle. Sometimes with the sturdier papers, if you see a whole bubble happening, you can go back, pull it up and lay it back down, and that works fine. Let me put a piece of this. Let's say we're going to put a piece down here. And this is deli paper, so deli paper rips really nicely. Just gonna lay this right down here. Let's see what else I've got to play with here. I do like to add things in like that I know are gonna add texture for me. Now this kind of thing is a little heavier, so I might want to use some matte gel. This is ultra matte gel, and I can add this in because it's going to need something a little heavier to hold it down than the liquid mediums. But I like the texture this is going to add for me. What else do I have? This is kind of fun, a little plain card. Don't know if it'll end up showing up or not, if it'll be part of the piece, but it has an opportunity there. And let's see, I thought I had something else. I love index cards. I love index cards, the way they show up. They leave a nice little pattern. Now I've gotten rid of all those flowers over there that I really wasn't wild about. This is kind of okay to stay. And so there you go. Now while I have an opportunity, while I'm waiting for this all to dry, I'll come back over and make sure my edges are covered up. I'll probably be adding, matter of fact, I might do that right now. I think I'll add some book pages. This is a little French dictionary that I keep ripping out pages. Let's see, I'm going to go right here on this edge. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'll come over here and add some of these pages to my edges. And get them to lay down. I kind of like this on my edges. It's one of my favorite things lately. And I can get everything to lay down nice and smooth. Let me get that. I just wrap it around all the way to the back. And that's going to create a nice little edge for me. And maybe I can take some of the scraps I've been ripping off, if I can find one. There's one. And just randomly lay them on here, because you can always come back with some paint when we get to that process. And, you know, cover some of them with paint. This is deli paper right now on that little chunk, which is really nice to, it's probably out of your sight range, but it's nice to just be able to lay down and do your corners with that. So there you go, making sure I'm using my bowl scraper on everything, laying everything down, checking it twice. And I think that is going to be a good start to my first layer. And my first layer is just creating something I can work with. Okay, so here we are back with the first piece I was working on. And I did all the edges before I set it out in the sun to dry up a little bit. And now I have it back and I'm kind of looking at it like, what am I doing? What's my orientation? Again, I think I might do flowers, which to me right now, I'm seeing a vase here. I'm seeing greenery. I'm seeing pink flowers. So I'm going to build on that to get a good start on it. I won't be finishing this piece in this video. I'll save that for another video, but I'm more wanting to show you just the layering, the process of layering, and using up an old canvas and just layering papers on it, and then kind of getting an idea from there where you want to go with it and taking the next steps. So I've got a lot of pink and turquoise. I'm thinking of adding in a little bit of orange just to throw it off a little bit, to add a little bit more color and make it a little bit more interesting. Let me see what else I have here. And I love this. That's kind of pretty with it, and it's a little bit different than the pink that I have. So, let's see. Let me just, this is on deli paper, by the way. Oh, that's kind of like a little heart. Doesn't do too much for me. Let's see, I'm not going to give up on it yet. Yeah, I'm not wild about that. I'm liking this one here a lot better. This one already has the imprint of a flower. Now I don't have to rip out, and this is printed on the back of a Thomas Guide map. So I don't have to rip everything out of it, but look, I've already got, there's a freeway line going through this flower that could create a really nice stem for me. Let's see, I want to rip it the right way, so. I don't know if that little freeway map is gonna, that little line is gonna make that much of a difference. I kind of like that. I'm seeing this as my vase down here. Again, I may want to take a flower right off the edge. Not wild about that. I do like this. I like this torn edge right here. I think I might wrap that. So this is the process. This is the process that I go through, figuring out where I'm going with this. Do I want to add that bright of a color in there? These are pieces, swatches of fabric that could be kind of fun and graphic, and so maybe like that. I'm liking those. So let me lay that down. I'm kind of liking the direction it's going in. Now, got all that happening. So I've got a pretty good base here. There's a lot more I can add to this. And I may, but just to get us started, I think I'm also going to add a little texture. Let's come down here. Not sure I want so much of that showing up, but we can deal with that afterwards. Right now, I'm just working on my bottom layers. And now I'm using a little bit of just joint compound out from Home Depot. I'm using that for layers with my stencil. So I can adjust this so that my A's show up and I can stencil right over that. Do you believe? There we go. And I'm just doing a really rough application of this. I'm not making sure that it's perfect because I just want to create some texture with it. And I'm sticking to the stencil. Let me come over here on the other side of what I think might be my vase. And you can very carefully lift up and see where that's going. Kind of like that. And I always like to do a little repeat, but I don't think I'm going to because I like this just as it is. Now, obviously, I have to let this sit and dry because I can't really go much further with this one. But you can see what I hope you can see what I have going. I definitely have a floral in the making, which is something I really like to do. I could have a coffee cup here. Don't know yet. We'll have to see where this one goes. But I love the beginning. And so much more can happen to this. I can come back with more stenciling, handwriting, so many things. As a matter of fact, I had a piece of a letter. I loved this color in here. So I may add this, a couple of pieces of this in somewhere. But you see, I have no real plan. And I guess that is the whole point of me making this video. Don't get caught up in your plan. Just have fun and lay papers down. Get it covered in a color palette that you like. That would be my suggestion, is pick out a palette that you like. This is very bright and colorful, but I may come over it with a cream or a soft gray and tone that down to kind of make it a little bit more where I want it to be, so it's not such a bright and colorful piece. So there's that piece. So there you have it, laying down papers. It's very fun, and it's a great start on your painting. When you don't really know what you're doing, just pick out a color palette and start laying things down. Newsprint, dictionary pages, old letters. I used a lot of jelly print papers that I had made myself for my color. And just pick out a selection and start gluing them down. Don't even think about what you're doing. Just have fun getting papers down and getting in the process. And it's really a lot to be said for not working on a blank canvas. So once you've got all those papers down, you have somewhere to go with it. So there you go. It's pretty fun. In my class, we'll be starting with this, and then we'll be taking it further. We'll be adding more layers, and we'll be creating our subjects or our point of interest through negative painting, in finding our subject through painting around instead of painting the subject. It's a really fun process. It's one that I use quite often. So my class will start on January 4th. You can find information about it down below. And if you have questions, put a question in the comments and I'll make sure to get back to you. And thanks for watching. I really had fun with this. I hope you do too. See ya.